And hello, we are joined today by the longtime king of cable news, Bill O'Reilly. Bill recently left Fox News, but is still very active with his new best-selling books, Legends and Lies, The Civil War. He has a new book coming out in September. I know it will be a bestseller, called Killing England. A long list of runaway bestsellers in that line of books, co-written with Martin Dugard. Welcome back to Newsmax TV, Bill. Great to have you.
Thank you, John. Thanks for having me in.
Always a pleasure. Now, Bill, I want to let you know we conducted an online and TV poll here at Newsmax TV not too long ago, reached more than 200,000 people, and our audience wants you back on TV. More than 90% said they want you back right away. Can you give us any update on your current plans?
Yeah, I mean, you can go to BillO'Reilly.com and see the podcast that we do Monday through Thursday on TV, just like this. I may come back to television. It just depends. We're living in a pretty vicious age now. Whoever I work for is going to have a lot of courage to stop the far left from attacking sponsors and spreading lies about people. I mean, they try to take out Sean Hannity. It's just really nasty. So I may come back to television, or I may continue on the net. We tweeted today during the Comey hearings, 3 million people, 3 million, John, were involved with the tweeting that I did on that. And so this is a very powerful medium, as is Newsmax. So we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. But I'm flattered that your audience wants me back, and I appreciate it very much.
Well, I was one of those 3 million people following your tweets, of course, today. And it's fascinating to get your take. We'll talk more about that in a second. But I also want to talk about first the new book, Legends and Lies, The Civil War. Why is this book so relevant still today?
Well, this is the third in the series of Legends and Lies, and we're in the middle of a civil war right now in America. Though the real Civil War, which was the low point in American history, has a lot of myths surrounding it, as you know. So we take this book and we walk through it. It's a beautiful book. It's got a lot of illustrations. Americans 9 to 90 will enjoy it. And that's my goal, to make history fun, all right, to make it come alive, and to have people absorb knowledge at the same time, become literate, and why their country was so divided back in the 1860s. And it is relevant to today. We're a divided nation today. And it's a great gift for, as you know, for Father's Day. We got Old School, Life in the Sane Lane, which is a funny book out. That's a great gift for dad and granddad. And Killing the Rising Sun is still a bestseller. So I got a lot of work to do on the book front, but I got to cover the news every day as well.
That's true. I mean, we can still get all the great books on BillO'Reilly.com, excluding the floor mats, Patriots Welcome, et cetera, and We Say Merry Christmas, all that stuff available as well. You mentioned we have a civil war going on today. It's not quite a civil war. We don't have members of the U.S. Senate beating each other up on the floor of the Senate like we did back leading up to the Civil War. But we do have a very divided nation. How do we overcome that? Because we got a lot of things we need to get done.
I don't think we can overcome it at this point, particularly with Donald Trump in the White House. The hate Trump movement is so intense that Barack Obama took it too. So let's be fair.
Yeah.
Hillary Clinton vilified. I don't know if we can overcome this because the media drives it. The media drives this kind of stuff, the hatred toward opposing points of view. So it distresses me. I think that Americans should be able to hold differing views and debate them and have fun at the same time. We tried to bring that to the O'Reilly factor. We succeeded in doing so. We're not a hateful operation, but the haters got us. And now I'm gonna change a little bit. We're gonna spotlight the haters, and we're gonna go after them.
You have to fill the space. If you don't actively compete in that arena, somebody will fill it with something that may or may not be true. And you've seen all these reports in the New York Times and the Washington Post, all citing anonymous sources. Why do you think it is that they are so obsessed with trying to take Donald Trump out?
It's a personal thing. They don't think he's worthy of the office. They don't think that he's obviously he's not in tune with their belief system. And they just loathe him. And I did the first interview with Donald Trump, as you may remember, John, when he announced he was going to run for president. I told him flat out that these people at the New York Times, Washington Post, these elites, these nationals, CNN, MSNBC, it's not just that they disagree with your point of view, they hate you. And they're going to try to destroy you. And we've seen that ever since the president took the oath of office. But it was interesting today to hear James Comey, who I believe today, I think he told the truth,
Yeah,
say that a lot of these stories were false.
of course.
In the New York Times, the Washington Post, they were lies. But he, as the FBI director, couldn't go out and refute them. That disturbed me a little bit. And then he leaked stuff himself to the New York Times. We'll get to that in a moment. That
I was
really
astounded by that.
Right. Really disturbed me. And that story is being de-emphasized by the press right now. But we're going to make it a big centerpiece of our analysis today on BillO'Reilly.com.
Okay, we'll encourage folks to check that out. We hear a lot of talk about impeachment. Do you think these threats made by Democrats, do you think the impeachment threat is real?
Not now, because after Comey's testimony today, there really isn't any grounds to continue with the hysteria against President Trump. He made some mistakes, the president did. Number one, he met with Comey alone. Never, a president can't do that, can't be alone with anybody. Number two, he did say, and I believe he said it, that can you lighten up on General Flynn after General Flynn was fired? Can't do it.
Right.
Now, did he do it for personal reasons because he felt sorry for Flynn and his family? Or did he do it because he didn't want the Flynn stuff to be fully measured in the press? Nobody knows. Nobody knows.
I think if we learned anything today, it's that Donald Trump from time to time is going to act not presidential per se, what we're used to a president acting like.
Well, but he's got to protect himself. Mr. Trump has to protect himself. And he's got to understand that a president saying to the FBI director, can you lighten up, it's going to come back to bite him, which it did.
Yeah.
But the intent, even Comey admits, the intent, we don't know what the intent was, and Comey didn't report it. It kept it secret, wrote some memos about it to cover his butt. But that doesn't rise to any kind of action other than it was a mistake.
Right.
Indefensible
behavior by the president, perhaps, but not impeachable by any account. We talked about Michael Flynn.
You can't bring a case against anybody for saying, gee, I hope General Flynn or anybody else, I hope he doesn't go through the grinder.
Yeah.
You can't bring a criminal case about that.
Well, I don't mean to put you on the spot here a little bit, but I've been missing the talking points memo. Can you give us kind of an ad-lib talking points memo on what you think about the hearing today?
Yeah, sure. It starts out, and I have all my tweets here, with a basic statement by Senator Mark Warner, who hates Trump, saying that there were contacts between the Trump campaign and Russia. That's not at issue, number one. He didn't back it up, Warner, number two. It's collusion, not contacts. Collusion in the sense that anybody in the Trump administration or his campaign would be working to undermine the Hillary Clinton campaign. No evidence of that. Okay, so right away, Mark Warner distorts the record. And then we get into Comey. As I said, I think Comey told the truth factually. His opinion is his opinion, so he says, well, we were really mad that the FBI was disparaged by Donald Trump and it was a lie. Well, it's his opinion, and Comey's entitled to it.
Sure.
But I think he testified honestly about the timeline and what happened. Here are the headlines. Number one, Trump told the truth when he said Comey told him 3 times he was not under investigation. That's confirmed. Number two, that the investigation by the FBI has not led to anything at this point in time that would rise to a criminal prosecution. Number three, that Russia did meddle, that Russia did try to create chaos in the American election. All right, so all those things now being confirmed by Comey. Then we get into the Flynn thing. Flynn had inappropriate contacts with Russia, okay? The vice president found out about it. Flynn lied to Pence, and that's why Flynn was fired. After the firing, the president had a conversation alone with James Comey, huge mistake, where he said, okay, Flynn's out, can you lighten up on this? Inappropriate, should not have done it. But that's it.
That's it.
That's what happened. Now, then we learn that Comey himself, because he was disturbed about that conversation, wrote memos. They call it contemporaneously. So he takes his pen and he writes it down and he discusses it with his guys at the FBI. But they decide, look, we don't know what the intent was, so we're not going to report it or we're not going to do anything. We're just going to put it in the drawer. But Comey didn't put it in the drawer.
Comey gave it to a friend of his in New York City who leaked it to the New York Times.
And he admitted today that he leaked it. He just had no problem with that. We have all this trouble with leaks now, and he was just sitting there defiant. I leaked it.
But right. And the sluggish senators didn't all go, what? They just let it go, and it's outrageous, and here's why. Comey knew the New York Times hated Trump. Comey testified today under oath. The New York Times ran fake news stories about him, about Trump, that Comey knew were false. But Comey they said, I couldn't say anything. So he gives these memos to his friend. That never should have happened anyway. His friend is entitled to see FBI confidential memos.
Yeah.
They weren't classified, but they were confidential. Okay? And the friend gives it to the New York Times. The FBI director does this. That's basis for firing. Maybe Trump found out about that. I don't know. But if he did, he'd fire Comey on the spot. You can't do that.
You talked about the power of Twitter, the platform that it offers you. It obviously provides a powerful platform for our current president, but some of Trump's friends are encouraging him to stop and throttling back on his tweets. He did not tweet during the James Comey hearing. Do you think that the president should stop tweeting?
Well, he didn't tweet because he didn't want to interrupt my tweets. All right, that's why he didn't do it.
That was nice of him.
Look, I never in a million years thought I would be doing tweeting, but it is when you get 3 million people, as we had today, reading them live time, but he's got to be fact-based. The problem with President Trump is that he doesn't base his tweets, many of them, on facts. And he's the president. He can give an opinion, and it's okay. But if his opinion is based on false information, he's going to look bad, and he gives his enemies ammunition. You know, the mayor of London thing is the best example. The mayor of London was warning people in his city about the increased police presence. And he was saying, don't worry about it because it's not out of control. Trump took that a different way, tweeted out, and then gave his enemies all of this stuff. And that's the problem with it. If you're the president, you're going to tweet, you got to make sure that your tweets are fact-based.
Yeah, and there were some issues with the tweets he sent out about Qatar, too, which caused some head scratching. And so maybe he just needs somebody who can take a quick look at him before he actually hits a send button.
Everybody needs an editor.
Exactly.
And he needs one on
that
tweet.
is true.
Everybody
needs an editor. Let's talk a little bit about your removal from Fox. You recently described it as a far-left hit job. I listened to your interview with Dom DiGiorno. It's all linked perhaps to anti-Trump activities. Do you have any new information on this front?
We have a lot of information, John, but I can't. My lawyers are begging me not to say anything because we're going to drop it in the next few weeks, and it's really, really stunning how organized that was and what these people did. But I can't really. I want to let the legal people handle this. I do believe there will be litigation. So I'm going to let them take the lead, and then after it's out, then I'll comment further on it. But this was no accident that our sponsors were attacked. And it was no accident that people came out who I've never even seen, and said vile things. This was very well organized. I tried it with Hannity. Hannity actually fought back. I didn't. I should have.
Do you think if you fought back harder, Bill, you'd still be on TV today?
I don't know. But I for reasons that I cannot explain now, I did not. All right? Because we knew it was bogus. We knew the whole thing was garbage. And, in hindsight, Sean did it the right way. And I should have done it that way, but I didn't.
Do you think Sean has, with his approach to this, has held it off for the long term, or do you think they're going to continue to go after someone who looks vulnerable?
Sure. And one mistake, the goal is to destroy the Fox News channel because that's the only television medium that gives Donald Trump a fair shake. So that was the goal. And that was instituted very quickly once the president was elected. So we got to get the Fox News channel. And how are we going to get them? Got to take their talent out. Okay, the talent that matters. And so there were very powerful people, very well-funded people who got together and devised various ways. And so, Hannity knows they're looking to get him. I mean, he said it. But I admire Sean, and I admire how he handled the situation because he brought it directly to the folks, and the sponsors stopped. He lost a few, but they stopped. And so he was successful in fighting off the attack, but there will be more.
Yeah, and you know, he used Twitter, a very powerful platform, again, to fight back against his critics, and I reach a lot of people that way. And it just shows you the power, again, of the platform and the web. You can kind of circumvent the big media, who are definitely out for the opposing opinion to theirs. Now, you had an enormous platform for 20 years, and I heard you recently say that the modern media has veered off course. There's no respect for the opposing opinion anymore, and there's no real attempt to seek the truth. How do we fix that, Bill?
I don't know if it's fixable. The reason that the founding fathers gave the media and the press special privileges was because they had one mandate and one mandate only, John: seek the truth. That's gone. There's a lot of money to be made by people like MSNBC because they hate Trump. So it's hate Trump 24/7. There are enough people who do hate him that they'll watch us and we can make a lot of money. That's what's going on. And on the converse is true as well. There was an hate Obama industry, a hate Hillary Clinton industry, but it was nothing like the Trump situation. So when you have a lot of money at stake, when you have big time corporations reaping benefits from hatred, that hatred is going to be presented. And that's where we are.
Yeah, you know, you'd like to think that there's some point at which the public, the folks at home, get fed up and really want to know the truth, and they demand the truth from the media outlets, but it doesn't seem like they're willing to do that.
Well, hundreds of thousands have gone to BillO'Reilly.com to get my daily podcast. And look, yeah, I know people don't like me. Some people don't like me, and they disagree, and that's fine. I don't mind that. But we'll give you an honest show. I mean, my analysis tonight of James Comey's testimony will be flat out honest. No spin, not trying to help Trump, not trying to hurt Comey, not trying to do any of that. It's straight. It's there. You can listen. It's fact-based, and you can agree or disagree. We want disagreement. So hundreds of thousands have come into BillO'Reilly.com, and they're listening to the podcast. As you point out, the power of the internet is just amazing.
Well, you seem resilient and ready to bounce back. You mentioned Father's Day. The premium membership to BillO'Reilly.com is a great gift, but also, of course, Legends and Lies Civil War will be a great gift as well.
And I like writing the books because, particularly for younger Americans, they don't know anything about history, John. They just don't know. So Killing the Rising Sun is a terrific book about the last days, how America defeated Japan, the atom bomb, all of that. Next book will be, as you mentioned, Killing England, the brutal struggle for American independence. People don't know what George Washington was like, really.
They have no idea. You think George Washington would have made it today with the modern media? He didn't exactly have a good run of it in the beginning of the Revolutionary War.
And he was a very stoic guy, not confrontational. None of them liked the media, by the way. None of the founding fathers liked the media at all.
Yeah, if folks today went and read some of the things that were said about John Adams and Thomas Jefferson, I don't know if today's politicians can handle that kind of flack.
I have to be grateful about my life because my success on the Fox News channel brought me all the book contracts, and it brought me the forum to talk to people like you. It got me into a situation where I was able to provide for my children. And so I got to balance the good with the bad. And as I said, everybody's life has bad things. You got to endure. I will.
Well, we know you will, Bill. We need you back on TV. Look forward to hearing more from you, Bill. And, of course, everybody can check you out every night at BillO'Reilly.com. And, Bill, one personal thing, if I could just ask, you know, I missed the word of the day. Can you give me a word of the day?
Do not be meretricious.
Okay. All right. Look it up at home, folks. Meretricious.
Newsmax. So you got to get the whole thing. Do not be meretricious.
Okay.
When listening to Newsmax.
All right, Bill. Great talking with you as always. Have a great day.
Okay, John. Cheers.
And thanks, everybody, for watching Newsmax TV. Good night.